programs, to the point too that other communities can emulate. Peter brought the key players to the table who raised the issue of homelessness to a new level. They invested millions of private dollars to fast-track programs that work. I always call Peter my Zen master. I'm a self-proclaimed pessimist. Peter healed me of that. Impossible to be around Peter to be a pessimist. Always talking me off the cliff, listening to my frustrations, bringing me back to center with words of wisdom and encouragement. As much as I tried to get him worked up with my pacing and huffing and puffing, he would listen. Wait a minute. Then he'd say, "You feeling better now, homie?" Think strategically, hombre. We go in the day, we need to think out the solution first and give everyone else the credit. Right. Peter taught me to listen first before I speak, no matter how hard it is for me to do. To marinate and think about the important things before taking a position. So always consider the other side's perspective, whether I agree with it or not. To understand that the most important goal is the common good. Peter loved everyone, and he saw the best in everyone. All San Diegans. Not just Padre fans or those experiencing homelessness. I mean everyone, including Dodger fans. He loved this entire community. Peter's legacy of wisdom, understanding, and compassion live on in our friendship, the homeless community, and the hearts of the Padre Nation. I miss you. I'll always love you, my brother. God bless you all.
Thank you, Stephanie and Bob. After Peter's passing, the Padres and the Padres Foundation launched the Peter Siedler Legacy Fund in his honor to continue the amazing contributions he made to our community and particularly to those less fortunate. If you look at the back of your program and see a QR code, it will give you more information on this very legacy fund. Peter was very passionate about higher education, and he collaborated with our next two speakers on many occasions. Please welcome to the podium the President of the University of San Diego, Dr. Jim Harris, and the Chancellor Emerita of the San Diego Community College District, Dr. Constance Carroll.
Good morning, everyone. Shield, Tom, the Siedler family. It's a great honor to be here. On behalf of the university, I bring our condolences. In the book, Good to Great, the author Jim Collins described the best leaders as level 5 leaders. Level 5 leaders, in his idea, display a powerful mix of personal humility and indomitable will. The man we honor today, my dear friend, Peter Siedler, was a level 5 leader. Peter and I became friends through my role and his role as a trustee at the University of San Diego. Peter served as the chair of the Student Affairs Committee, and he relished his role. No matter what topic we were discussing, Peter made it a point to always focus his attention on our students. Most importantly, he was empathetic to the plight of any student in need, and he was always kind. You see, he treated students with dignity and respect as he did with everyone else, and the students loved him for it. It was always fun to stand outside the committee meeting and the students would be waiting for him, just like a group of fans waiting for the Padres to come out of the locker room. Peter was also a great support of our USD athletic programs during our great run for the Padres in the fall of 2022. Trail volleyball was also making a run, to advance to the Final Four. And I reached out and my phone starts lighting up, and it's a group of texts from Peter, and he says, "Oh yeah, let's go win the whole enchilada." It was in relation to his role at USD that I first heard Peter utter the phrase, "best in class." He wanted USD to be the best in class in all that we did, and it was his way of saying that we should go from good to great. During my first year, Peter and I started meeting on a regular basis, and we quickly found common ground in what we both led complex organizations, and we held positions that required us to be in the public eye. He would talk about the university, we would talk about the Padres, we would always talk about our families, and what it meant to be a good leader. I would bring Peter, for example, into my classroom, meet with my students, to talk about what it meant to be a servant leader. But we always returned to what we could do together to address the sorrow of homelessness in San Diego. As you heard before, Peter was dogged in his determination to make San Diego live up to its motto as being America's finest city, by making sure every citizen, even those who were unhoused, were treated with dignity. Once again, he would utter the phrase, "best in class," whenever he was asked what he wanted the city to achieve. Thanks to Peter, today there are students and faculty at every university in our county working with service providers and government entities to find solutions to this most urgent issue. There was always a sense of urgency in what Peter did. While he had a laid-back style, he had an indomitable will, and he was fierce in his determination to do something meaningful and immediately for those in need. His compassion was so great that he walked the streets, talking to those who suffered from being unhoused, so he understood better their plight. And he did this without fanfare, no cameras following him. It was just Peter, humbly and sincerely engaging with his fellow citizens. There's virtually no organization in the county that focuses on the issues of the unhoused population who is not touched by Peter. For example, in my role as chairman of the board of the Monarch School, I watched as Peter connected Monarch with key people in the community. And as I mentioned before, there were students at Monarch School who knew Peter by his first name. There were two other things that Peter was equally passionate about: almost winning the pennant, bringing San Diego a World Series championship, or as maybe he would call it, the whole enchilada. And like all of us, he suffered mightily when the Padres lost, but he never hesitated to do what was necessary for the Padres to be the best in class baseball franchise in America. One day in the near future, when we do go from good to great, and we win the series, it will be because of the foundation of excellence built by Peter. But his greatest passion was for his family. He loved being a son, a husband, a father, a brother, and Peter was smart enough to marry well, married a proud USD grad in Shield, and together they created a beautiful family. As you heard earlier, his eyes would light up every time he talked about his family, and his love and respect for his extended family was always evident. You see, Peter knew he had a best-in-class family. In the end, Peter was an optimist. He was optimistic about this world, so optimistic that Sheila and he brought in 3 wonderful children into the world. Optimistic enough to spend his own money in an attempt to bring this city a championship, and he was optimistic that if we worked together, the city of San Diego could be a best-in-class city and live up to our motto as America's finest city. So what can we do to honor Peter's legacy? First, let's try to be by being more like him. Be humble servant leaders. And we can do this by just being a little nicer to people, maybe a little kinder, by loving our neighbors enough to walk with them and to treat them with dignity, by loving our families and focusing on what matters most, and finally, by being fierce in our pursuit of being best in class in all that we do. We owe this to Peter, we owe this to our city, we owe it to ourselves, to to strive to be nothing less.
According to the Siedler family, Shield, and the kids, Peter Siedler was an extraordinary man, a deeply caring man. What struck me most about Peter was his combination of humility and love